My name is Celine Rubin, and I'm here on behalf of Indijewness organization. So, to recognize anti-Semitism, you must understand that anti-Semitism is not always easily detectable or obvious. In fact, some of the worst types of anti-Semitism that had the most significant effects on Jews were actually hidden anti-Semitism. Kind of like anti-Semitism masked as social justice, as we see a lot of today with anti-Zionism. It may not be perceivable at first, and it may take time to see its damaging effects. Historically, Jews have been consistently transformed into the loathsome other. We were forcefully displaced because we were hated first for our religious beliefs. Then we were exterminated because they believed us to be an impure race. And today, we are constantly demonized and delegitimized because the only Jewish state in the world is perceived to be the most devilish nation in the world, the ultimate human rights abuser. We have been excluded and degraded throughout all of history, even through systematic policies of political, economic, and social isolation. Anti-Semitism is so deeply ingrained in our society, and today, our generation is living through its very peak. While we definitely feel it, we're also witnessing blatant anti-Semitism occurring every day, whether it's in the media, as we saw very recently on SNL, or on social media, as we see on TikTok, where Jews are harassed simply for being Jewish, or by our own politicians, whether they're on the right of the political spectrum or on the left. We are loathed on both sides. It has officially reached the point in which Jew hatred is normalized. It is accepted by society to harass Jews, whether it be physical harassment or psychological. And Jewish students today are being physically and psychologically threatened on school campuses all over the world, especially on college campuses. Whether it's through the flagrant anti-Semitism displayed by their very own professors, or whether by movements such as the anti-Semitic BDS movement, or the hidden anti-Semitism that is fused into the academic system itself. The effects of systemic anti-Semitism creeps up very slowly on us, and like I said earlier, we won't see its effects right away. We saw this with anti-Jewish legislation in Europe before the Holocaust, when Jews were transformed from citizens into outcasts. We saw this with the anti-Semitic legislation against Jews in the MENA regions, the Middle East, North African regions, where Jews were stripped of their rights in countries like Iraq, Libya, Algeria, just to name a few. The effects of these laws slowly turned all Jews into physical isolation and segregation, which then eventually led to the many pogroms and the genocide of 6 million Jews in Europe, and the massacres, the forced conversions, and expulsions of the Jews in the MENA regions. Like these historically dangerous anti-Jewish legislations, the new California Ethnic Studies curriculum is also created under the guise of just simply trying to educate others about who the Jews are. That this is simply an attempt at helping fight bigotry. So why is that anti-Semitic? Where is the anti-Semitism, someone might ask? Well, by the curriculum presenting some minority groups as inherently oppressed, and others, like the Jews in this case, as innately privileged and oppressive people. The California curriculum is then inviting in and advancing the ancient, libelous claims about Jews, again, as being the loathsome other. It is undoubtedly made with the intention of also inviting anti-Zionism into our classrooms. In fact, it demands that. So in modern times, we are again becoming transformed as citizens into pariahs through the constant fake narratives and rhetoric. On the far right side of the political spectrum, we are not white enough. We are the fake Jews, the evil people controlling the media. On the far left, we are white, privileged oppressors and colonialists. We cannot be left out of the spaces, especially progressive spaces, in which we very much actually belong. We cannot stay excluded anymore from being a part of the dialogue that we should be a part of. Any dialogue that asks who the Jews are, which we saw occur very recently with BBC News asking a group of non-Jews who the Jews are, or dialogue that asks what is anti-Semitism, as was recently asked to a panel, again, of non-Jews who some on that panel were even labeled to be anti-Semitic themselves. Let us help you understand who we are. Let us define our identity and our narrative. So who are we? Who are the Jews? Jews are an ethno-religious group who share a common ancestral land, culture, language, and history. We are not just a religion. We are an indigenous group native to the land of Judea, the land of Israel, who were forcefully displaced by the Byzantines, the colonizing Romans, and then by the colonial empires who took over thereafter. Even throughout the rule of those colonial empires, we had kept a continuous presence on our native land. And in 1948, we finally liberated our land from the last colonial empire being the British. No other event in history experienced an indigenous liberation like ours. So do those who are still living in the diaspora. If we want to combat anti-Semitism, we have to decolonize our indigenous Jewish identities. We have to strengthen our Jewish identities. This is the key in fighting against false and dangerous narratives that are thrown around about who we as Jewish people are. We each have the responsibility of making our narrative as a people known. It is time to speak up, time to take back our story and narrative that has been hijacked from us for so long. Know your identity and where you come from and carry that around with you, because that is powerful in of itself. I want to leave with this quote by Natan Sharansky. When Jews abandon identity in the pursuit of universal freedom, they end up with neither. Thank you.